I remember when I was not just a referral agent trying to help buyers and sellers find the best agent possible, with my track record being out here in Santa Clarita since 1998, but I remember when I was active in the real estate game and when we would get offers, and I often talk to agents about this. A lot of them will call me up and kind of bounce offers off of me to kind of get my spin on it. And when we get offers, a lot of those offers are going to depend on the lender. And most lenders are just fantastic. If you're dealing with some of the local lenders out here, absolutely wonderful. But in some cases, even they can make, mistakes that might embarrass you as a real estate agent. So one of the things that normally I did whenever we would get offers, you have to look at the terms, but always, this is important, you always have to talk to that lender right when you get the offer before you even start talking with your seller, because the funding is going to be probably the most important part. If in fact the person wants something repaired or some kind of a credit, yes, that's important too, but you don't know that until you get deeper into the process. So you look at the offer at face value. You make those determinations just by what's been presented. No assumptions, just exactly what's been presented. You tally all of those things up, but with that, you need to also follow up with the money source. If it's going to be cash, a good question to ask is, where's the cash coming from? If it says it's coming from a hedge fund or some kind of a workers' comp account or something of that nature, maybe not workers' comp, but some kind of a retirement account or a hedge fund account or some kind of a stock or a PMA, PCA, or these types of fancy accounts, are they able to actually take the money out? Or does that process take months? And does it require some kind of justification? So just because you see an account that has the money in it, what type of an account is it? In addition, even if it appears on the surface to be a regular garden variety run-of-the-mill bank account, maybe that's something you should find out. Are they able to access that money? Are they actually able to have it withdrawn from the account in the time frame in which they're stating that they can? So that's the first part. So that's just cash. Now we're talking about let's put a loan on top of this buddy. Let's get that thing done. So then what are those questions are? So if they're offering you, telling you that they can get it done in a particular amount of time, look at what the loan type is. If it happens to be FHA and VA, understand that lender is dependent on other people when these things get scheduled, for example, like an appraisal. If an appraisal is mandatory by the particular loan provider, and I would say with very few exceptions, almost all of them are, how is that appraisal going to be dispatched? If it's something that the lender can call up the appraiser and have them respond, a few days, maybe even faster. But if they put on the contract that they're willing to do whatever it may be, maybe reduce the time frame for appraisals, you need to make sure that they're really able to do it. And you can find that out pretty simply by just making a follow-up email to the lender. Why not a phone call? Well, sure, the phone call wouldn't be bad, but you always want to follow that up with the lender. So these are all the steps of due diligence. It could be that they're using some kind of a government-backed loan like FHA or VA, and the appraiser is going to be dependent on availability. They don't know that when they write the offer. Well, maybe they do. Maybe they deal with these appraisers all the time and they know exactly how they operate and know that if they order a VA loan, that it's probably going to be Tom, most likely. But maybe Tom's sick. Maybe Tom doesn't feel good. Maybe Tom is no longer in the appraising of VA business and they assign you to Sally. And Sally has a 3-week time frame in which she can't get out to the property. So if they put on the offer, they promise to get a VA offer closed in 30 days, which it's happened, and even less, it's happened. But she's not available for 3 weeks. I don't know if that's going to happen. So you need to make all these little step notifications all the way through the process. Maybe it's VA, FHA. Maybe they're promising that a Federal Housing Administration loan would be able to be closed in 21 days. Again, you need to follow up with that lender, find out if this in fact is possible, and then after that conversation with them, as the agent representing the seller, then go back and then send them an email and make sure you understood the conversation, especially if it's all rainbow, sunshine, hugs and kisses, and cotton candy and unicorns. If it's all cool like that, then perfect. Follow it up in an email. Once you have all these questions answered, because your seller might not even know the questions to ask. Well, I got an offer on the property. Great. Thank God for that. And the offer's kind of where we wanted it. Perfect. Great for that. If you're going to counter back and forth, okay, understood that. But these other terms, let's say it's agreed to, we need to maybe do some investigation and make sure this is in fact what's going to end up happening. If you don't, then you're going to be incredibly embarrassed with your real estate seller. And once that happens, it's hard to recover. You then start to look like the agents out there that people talk bad about because you didn't do your due diligence or ask all the right questions. So my recommendation to you is when you get ready to do this, make sure you have that conversation with the lender, the money source, and if it is cash, you make sure that that cash is able to be withdrawn for this particular property, and they're not just saying cash in order to get an offer accepted when they're actually going to use financing. Now, the buyer's business of getting the loan, that's theirs. Sometimes we see it go from conventional to FHA and VA. That changes in the process. The buyer might have changed their mind. But if it's more than changing their mind, there could be issues there. So watch out for that. Understand that these are all parts of the process. When you get that fantastic offer and those time frames seem different, maybe it's a reason to think of it a little bit closer. That's it. Santa Clarita openhouses.com. You're more than You're more than welcome to come here. You can book a time with me on the calendar if you happen to be a buyer or seller looking for that right agent. I will make that introduction. And of course, here is all the inventory in the Santa Clarita Valley cities. So check it out. Also, don't forget this one. This is my blog under the About tab. You'll see the posts. I do update this frequently. It really does give you a lot of information on how I perform my process for my buyers and sellers out there looking to hire the right real estate agent. Have a fantastic rest of your week. I'm Connor with Honor and Santa Clarita Open Houses. We'll see you at the next one. Thanks for watching. Take care.